Well, it seems that the genesis of this uh, Shaquille O'Neal Dwight Howard feud goes back to 2008 when Dwight Howard, wearing the cape and outfit, called himself Superman, which rubbed Shaq the wrong way because Shaq was known as Superman, had the Superman tattoo on his bicep, and that was a moniker of his. Okay, although to be fair, I've heard other players be called that, although it wasn't a consistent nickname. I used to hear sometimes um, local announcers with WGN call Jordan Superman when he would have like a 40 or 50 point game. You know what I'm saying? So, but technically it's Shaq's nickname, all right? But still, I can't help but think there's something else going on there between the two. Because Shaq just seems especially harsh on Dwight Howard. And also, people say it's jealousy. Shaq is not jealous of Dwight Howard. He has no reason to be jealous of Dwight Howard. He's a better player. He has more championships. There's really no reason for him to be jealous. Um, he's richer. So what? So there's only one. There's only a couple things I can think of, and I suspect I have a theory. I'm not going to share it because I don't want to say anything that's not true and just speculation. But I have a theory about what it could possibly be. Okay, because I think it's more than just the Superman thing and the comparison. I think it's something else. It's something else that drives his constant vitriol against Dwight Howard. But anyway, we all know that recently Shaq criticized Dwight Howard for over celebrating um, the championship that he won with the Lakers. Okay, saying that he's acting like he was a main cog or one of the primary cogs for the Lakers when in reality he was just a somewhat seldom used role player. Okay, but he was recently asked about this, about his criticism of Dwight Howard, and he doubled down on it, saying that he's pretty much earned the right to be critical of Dwight Howard and other players, especially centers. He says he's not apologizing to Dwight Howard about it. He said, "quote You can only hate if you haven't achieved. I've been there and done that. I'm still the Lord Supreme of all big men. I'm the last big man to get an MVP in this league, so I'm still in charge." Now, when he says that he's the Lord Supreme of all big men, is he saying that he's the best big man of the last 20 years? I'm assuming that's what he means. Um, cause I'm trying to figure out exactly what he's saying here. What do you mean by you're the Lord Supreme of all big men? Because if you're talking about all time, you're not. Kareem Abdul-Jabbar is better than you, and Wilt Chamberlain was more dominant than you were. All right. Um, and my buddy 78 point out a couple times. Shit, for as dominant as Shaq was, he only has 3 50 point games. You know what I'm saying? Like, as dominant as you are or were, you still only had 3 50 point games. By contrast, Kobe had 25, 26 if you include the playoffs. And if you're talking about, like, living, or Kareem was better than you, Hakeem was better than you. Okay. Yes, You're the last big man, last center at least, to win an MVP. All right, Giannis has won it two consecutive MVPs, but he's a power forward. But let's be honest about something, Shaq. Okay, you didn't start winning championships until, and I've said this before, you didn't start winning championships until A, Kobe Bryant came into his own. B, Phil Jackson helped to show you guys how to win, and that encompasses how to close out games. And C, all of the great centers, the remaining great centers, began to get old. By 2000, Patrick Ewing, Kim Olajuwon, they were starting to break down. They were no longer the forces they were in the early to mid 1990s. David Robinson was a little bit younger, but David Robinson was never the same after that devastating leg injury in 1996. Never the same. So Shaq, you were alone. You know, even the Rick Smiths of the world, even the Mark Eatons, the Ronnie Cycles, you know, the B level and upper C level, the Sam Perkins, all these guys were getting old. Think about it. Think about all of the centers that were in the NBA at that time, around 2000, 2000, that Shaq had to go through in the 90s. All those guys were getting old. The only up and coming center that I could think of off the top of my head that was an all-star level center at that time, and Tim is considered a power force, and I'm including him in this, is maybe Alonzo Mourning. He was in his prime at that time, but Alonzo Mourning wasn't as dominant as these other guys. And Mourning was only 6'9" and a half, 6'10". So Shaq, you didn't start winning until you had to go against the Todd McCulloughs. You know, Rick Smith was finished damn near by the time you played in the finals. That was his last. Those were his last NBA games in that finals. His feet problems they forced his retirement after that finals. And I think about it. Now that I think about it, didn't he go up against Todd McCullough back to back in the finals? 2001 with the Sixers and 2002 with the Nets, and then an old ass Rick Smith, and then when he was with Miami in 2006, who was the Mavericks center? Did they even have a traditional center? Because I'm trying to think. Wasn't there a big man like what was that guy named Nahara? Like did they even have a traditional center at that time? So it's like, look, Shaq, you didn't start winning until the big men started becoming depleted in the NBA. And before then, you stayed getting swept out of the playoffs. You got swept in '93. Well, no. You got swept in '94. Excuse me. Didn't make the playoffs in '93. Got swept in '94. Infamously got swept in the finals in '95. You made it to the finals, but you got swept. Got swept by my Bulls in '96. Lost 4-1 in '97, I'm not mistaken. Got swept in '98. They got swept in '99. They got swept by the Pacers in '94. Then my Bulls swept you guys shockingly again in 2007 when y'all were the defending champions. And I think you had another piss poor series, as you did in the finals in 2006 when Dwayne Wade was carrying your big ass. So the only reason, the thing that pissed me off, look, Shaq is an all time great, but he got it in his head that he's the greatest center of all time, and you weren't because you were a big lazy motherfucker. You had the potential to be the goat, But if you had Kobe Bryant or Michael Jordan or Larry Bird or whoever work ethic or mindset like a Bill Russell or something, but if he had Bill Russell's Bill Russell was very limited in some ways skill wise. But no, even though I might knock him for certain things, like when you try to compare him to a GOAT, but I admire Bill Russell because he got the most out of what he was gifted. Shaq didn't. Shaq had GOAT potential. If you watch Shaq throughout his career, not the last few years when he was a shell of himself, but if you watch Shaquille O'Neal from the time he tipped off, when he had 18 rebounds in that first fucking game he played, and you watch him from 92, I say to about 2003, those were his best years. You watch him play, and you're thinking to yourself, this guy should be the fucking GOAT. What's keeping him from being better than what he is? As much as people get on Wilt, they really need to get on Shaq ass. The rules went against Wilt. Wilt couldn't use his physicality. You know what I'm saying? Wilt couldn't dip his shoulder in the post, or it'd be an offensive foul every time. That's why Wilt had to play a finesse game. That, and plus he wanted to show he had skills, but Wilt had to play more of a finesse game early on in his prime. He couldn't play like Shaq. Shaq had the rules to his advantage, and he still didn't dominate the way he should have. Now look, I don't like Dwight Howard. I tease him. We know what he's. We know what's on the table with Dwight Howard. Okay, but shout out to Ticket TV because he said this in his video. If you're not subscribed to Ticket, please subscribe to Ticket TV. At the end of the day, even though I thought that his signing would be detrimental, he put his ego to the side. He accepted his role. He lost a lot of weight to be able to play and be more successful in this style of basketball, more up tempo style of basketball that we have now. And he accepted his role, played better than I thought he would. Shot 73% from the floor, by the way, something Shaq never did. Not saying he's better, but I'm just saying. I know the way the game's played is, and the way things are open now, guys are going to shoot higher percentages in the paint. But still, he shot 73% from the floor, something Shaq never did. And he won a championship. He's going to be a Hall of Famer. All right? First ballot. I know a lot of people don't look at him and see Hall of Famer, but Dwight Howard's a Hall of Famer. Dwight Howard deserves to be able to celebrate a championship. And Shaq's sitting around here trying to bully every fucking body. You know what I'm saying? He's trying to sit here and bully a person. Look, man, that shit that day is done. Okay, you're not playing anymore. You're an analyst. You're pushing 50. Grow the fuck up. Okay, and I watched you play, Shaq. Okay, you didn't bully Charles Barkley that night when he whooped your ass. You didn't bully Alvin Robinson. You know what I'm saying? When you cheap shot him and he punched you in your motherfucking face, I didn't see you bully him. And Alvin Robinson was a 6'3" point guard. He's gonna whoop your fucking ass because he can fight. He's like a fucking. A lot of people don't realize Alvin Robinson damn near an MMA fighter skill. He would have whooped Shaq's ass. But Shaq think because he's big and strong that he can just intimidate everybody. But some people gonna put him on his ass. You know what I'm saying? Like the motherfucker put Suge Knight on his ass. I can't stand a bully, man. But at the end of the day, man, Shaq, I don't know what's wrong with that dude, man. You know, insecurity is all I can chop it up to. Because I've never seen a guy who has to constantly harp about his fucking rings. I've never seen a guy always have to harp about fucking championships and shit. That's an insecure motherfucker, man. You know what I'm saying? And all you gotta do is read um Superhead's fucking book to